So the Denver Broncos just got some pretty good news on their third-round pick out of Illinois, which is wide receiver Pat Bryant, because a former coach now of Bryant and Courtland Sutton has said there are a lot of similarities between these two players. And if I told you or George or Sean Payton that Pat Bryant would be even 90% of Courtland Sutton, for finding him in round 3, I think they make that pick 10 times out of 10. So Sutton and Bryant, if you don't know, had the same wide receiver coach. This was Bryant's wide receiver coach at Illinois, who has hopped around a little bit. But after the draft, let's be honest, everyone is just looking for evidence and for more reasons to believe their teams made good picks. Am I wrong? We're all searching for confirmation that the pick that your favorite team made was a good one. And so when I see the Illinois wide receiver coach say positive things about Pat Bryant, I'm not surprised. He's gassing up his own guy. But when he can go into such detail about Broncos wide receiver Pro Bowler Courtland Sutton, it makes you feel even more confident that he's not just saying it to pump your tires. Now, I want to share 2 quotes with you guys here. The first quote coming from Pat Bryant himself about his game and what you can expect to see out of it, because I think you guys will get a good kick out of this, saying, "My main focus when the ball is in the air is it's mine, and I'm better than the man that's in front of me." I mean, that's not quite run through wall type of stuff right there, but maybe that's run through like a Nerf Jello wall. Like, you're going to feel pretty good about this pick when you hear stuff like that coming from a rookie. Someone that wants to get on the field and use that size to just pluck balls out of the air from DBs in front of him. And for the Broncos, think about historically their wide receivers. Courtland Sutton, Demaryius Thomas, Rod Smith. Those are guys who use their size and their strength and their physicality to impose their will on DBs. And if Bryant can be the next one in that line, he's going to be an instant fan favorite. But on top of that one, the Illinois wide receiver coach also said, quote, "He's just like Courtland." I think we can all agree that if you are finding someone who is just like Courtland, we're all going to be very excited about that pick. Sutton had a great start to his NFL career. It sucks they tore his ACL because it felt like that took, not just, of course, that whole season out of him, the 2020 season, but also he really wasn't even 100% in 2021, and we didn't start to get back to pre-injured Sutton until 2023. But last year was, I'd say, the best year of his NFL career. Factor in all the circumstances. He's got a rookie quarterback. He's going into the final few years of his contract. He's getting up in the age column. Maybe not as fast as he once was. And despite that, he was the number one go-to guy for the Broncos passing attack. So I'm excited for this pick now. I mean, what inevitably happens is for 95% of picks made, I'm going to warm up to them. I'm going to talk myself into them. I'm going to try and be half glass full. I'm going to try to be optimistic. And sure, I felt like this was a little bit of a reach at the time, but the more I read, the more I consume, the more excited I get, because there are some similarities between these two guys. I mean, go back to, Bryant in 2024 in Urbana-Champaign, and then Courtland Sutton's final year with the SMU Mustangs back in 2017. If you felt like Bryant was, a little bit underwhelming from a production standpoint, he's not very far off from what Sutton did his last year in Dallas. Just over 1,000 yards, 100 more yards than Bryant, 2 more touchdowns. And I think that's why Sutton goes, what was it, 34 spots earlier? Sutton was the 40th overall pick, I think. Yeah, and Bryant was 74th, 75th, something like that. So 35 spots later, and maybe a few percentage points behind Sutton. But if in round 3 you're finding someone at the next level who can give you 750 yards and 5 touchdowns for 4 straight years, I'll take that. At pick 75, yeah, I can be happy with that type of production. So here's a bit more bite-sized stuff on Bryant, just so you can walk away from this video going, I've got a better understanding as to who Denver just got in the draft. 1, rapid improvement over the last 3 years. I mean, that's something that you think that really jumps out to me is the way he improved his craft and just worked on it throughout his entire time at Illinois. You like to see that as a scout, as a GM, to go, this is a guy that put in the work in the offseason. He's got good body control. He's got the ability to, this is a bit of a cliche, but when the ball's in the air, to have an understanding of where I am, where the ball is, where the defender is, and where the sideline is. They make that look so much easier on TV than it really is. I also think his ability to win a lot of 50-50 balls is going to make him a bit of a, favorite for Bo Nix. He's going to have his quarterback's trust of, hey, if you throw it in my direction, I'm not going to interrupt your passing stats. We're going to get the grab, not the INT. So those are 3 pros that jump out to me about Bryant. Now, as for some cons, he is not the fastest cat on the field. He ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. He's probably not going to be a vertical burner for you. So the burst, the long end speed, it's not quite there. Now, at times there were some issues with drops and concentration and focus. That is something that I can look at and go, you can coach that. You can't coach speed. I can get coaching on catching the football. And that's what NFL coaches are there to do. Far too often, I feel like people believe that when players go from college to the pros, they're expected to be a finished product. However good you are in college is how good you'll be at the NFL. No, you have a wide receiver coach for a reason. His job is to make those guys as good as they possibly can be. So when I see things like that, I don't view that as this player's no good for me. That's a problem. I view that as, looks like this coach has some work to do because that's his job. And then, what was the third and final con we had written down for him? We'll get that on screen for you in just a moment here. Here it is. Not a great run blocker. This is one that is a little bit like a trial by fire, I'll say. Meaning, we're going to learn just how effective he can be in open space because in college, sometimes you don't ask your receivers to really stand out in this regard. You try to limit how much you put on their plate. So I'm hopeful that he can, with that bigger frame, develop into a good run blocker and maybe be like what Denver, was hoping to get a little bit more out of Little Jordan Humphrey out of. Was a bigger guy who was good with the ball in his hands, tough to bring down. All right, before we sign off, a couple quick things here. One, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got free content all year long. There's no paywall. There's not like a, put your credit card information in and unsubscribe or we're going to charge you in a week. No, that does not happen here. So get the best free content all year long when you are subscribed. Now, while we're on this just overall topic, a quick little update on Courtland Sutton, who is searching for a contract extension. We're nearing OTAs, which are voluntary, then mandatory minicamp. Last year, he did not show up to the voluntary stuff. He did show up to mandatory minicamp. And so we'll see what he does this year as he has 1 year left on his contract. He's approaching 30 years old. The Bryant pick, I think, is a combination of, hey, Denver saw a receiver that they liked, and maybe it's a bit of a happy accident or happy coincidence that he happens to have the similar play style of Sutton. So if they were to move on from that boundary X type receiver, next year they could have someone who can step in and fill that void, right? So you're not just searching for any receiver, but you've already got one who fills that role that Sutton played so well the last couple of years. So I'm hopeful that some type of extension can be reached because I do feel like Sutton has some good football in him still. I understand that when you're getting towards 30, that's usually not the time you want to talk about giving someone an extension, but I'm willing to make a bit of a gamble on Sutton, and I'd like to see him continue to stick around for Bo Nix. So I'm not talking big, crazy extension, but I think even if you can just get a 1 year deal, right? Lock him up for the next 2 seasons, give him a 1 year fully guaranteed contract. I don't hate it. By no means am I advertising for Denver to go out there and give him, high $20 million range. But the guy's making $15 million right now. What if you got him up to a 1 year, $20 million contract, right? play out the final year of his contract this year, and then 2026, he's on the books for 1 year, $20 million. It's barely even top 20, I think, at $20 million. I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see Sutton continue to play with Knicks and go from there. So we'll see what comes out of all this right here. Okay, I think that's everything we have on today's show. So let me know, would you extend Courtland Sutton? Or better yet, how about this? Over or under 1,000 yards for number 14 this upcoming season. Give me an O for over, give me a U for under down below in the comment section.